Hi. Hi, everyone. My name is Jonathan Strauss. I'm the Director of Future Students and Marketing here at UNSW. Welcome to our Scholarships Information evening. Thank you for joining us on what is a lovely, rainy evening here in Sydney, and for making the trek out to UNSW. We have a packed information evening for you this evening to cover a whole bunch of the information that you need to know about how to apply for scholarships here at UNSW, and also, more importantly, what kind of scholarships are available and what you need to be thinking about in terms of your actual application. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Bidjigal people of the Eora Nation, and also pay my respects to any elders past or present. Here is a quick snapshot of what our program will include this evening. So you'll get a little bit of information about the university and why you might choose to study here at UNSW from me. We'll then have an overview of the scholarships and co-op application itself, my scholarship story from two of our current students who are holders of scholarships, and then we will go to questions from Slido. And for those of you not familiar with Slido, the next slide, that's me, by the way, the next slide talks you through how to submit those questions via Slido. So if you've got your phone, go ahead and grab it out at the moment. Head off to that URL, slido.com, and you will be asked to enter in an event hashtag or an event number or event name that is UNSW Scholarships. Once you do that, you'll be able to, throughout the evening, type in your question and say, this is a question that I really want to get answered because I've just heard someone say something that I don't understand or that I want to know more about. And then submit your question, and then everyone in the audience can see that question via your phone as well. And you can go, that's a great question, and I want to know an answer to that as well, and like that question, and it will come up to the very top of the list. And then at the very end of the evening, we'll have a Q&A panel here up on stage with a number of our speakers who will then be able to answer those questions that you have. So again, feel free to use Slido all throughout the evening and submit those questions. That's how we'll do the Q&A panel at the very end. So, everyone good with that? You've taken a photo, you've logged in via Slido, you're good to go? Excellent. No? Almost? 2 more seconds. Good, good. I think we're getting, yep, good, perfect. So, a little bit about UNSW and why you might choose to come to UNSW. For those of you who don't know anything about UNSW and this is your first experience visiting the campus, how many of you are Year 10 students at the moment? Couple? Good, good. You're on top of things really early, which is great. Any Year 11s? Good, good. And Year 12s? So you're the ones that are getting ready for your HSC or your IB exams later this year, and then ultimately university entry next year. So this information is going to be most relevant for really all of you in the room. Also parents, you're allowed to raise your hand and just acknowledge your presence as well. Thanks for getting everyone here tonight. Thank you. So this information is going to be helpful to all of you in various different ways. So for those of you who are at the very end of this process, Year 12, and getting ready for your HSC exams, the very practical information of how to submit a scholarship application is going to be most applicable to you. And then for those of you in Year 10, some of the information about what we're looking for in a scholarships applicant is going to be very helpful as well. So a couple of things about UNSW. We do have over 54,000 students studying here at this campus, the Kensington campus, but we also have 2 other campuses, the Art and Design campus in Paddington, and then also our UNSW Canberra at ADFA campus in Canberra. The vast majority of students do study here, and we have 9 faculties. 7 of those are based here on the Kensington campus. And we are a pretty flexible institution, so we have just over 300 different undergraduate degrees and combinations for students to choose from. Everything from data science, aviation, medicine, law, arts, fine arts, all of that is available to you here at UNSW. One of the things that we're actually known for as a university here in the Sydney metro area is the ability to do a number of combined degrees. So it doesn't take twice as long to take a Bachelor of Arts and combine it with a Bachelor of Science. You generally get to shave off a little portion of each degree and finish 2 degrees in an abbreviated amount of time. And there could be good reasons to consider a combined degree. One would be that you're wanting to do one for the head, one for the heart. This is the one that I know I can get a job with. This is the one I know I want to prove to my parents that I can get a job with. Or I have a particular career path in mind that is, it would be really beneficial for me and or my career or my employer to have a background in 2 different fields of study. So for instance, an engineering consultant might like to have an engineering degree, makes sense, and then potentially combine that with a commerce degree as well. So there's a huge range of combinations to choose from here at UNSW. Also, something that we often like to remind Year 12 students of is that it isn't the end of the world if you make the wrong decision in terms of the degree choice that you make right now. And we tell you that for two reasons. One is if you end up here at UNSW and it's not, and you've done a year of study and you're like, it's just not quite what I thought it was, or it's not what I wanted it to be, you can use internal program transfer to move from one degree into another degree. The other reason we tell Year 12 students about internal program transfer is because it can be a pathway into a particular degree program if you don't end up with the ATAR required to get straight into that program. So an example might be that you would look at a program that has a similar cutoff, or has a similar area of study and might have a lower cutoff, and you can apply for that lower cutoff degree, get an offer there, and after a year use internal program transfer to move into the degree that you would prefer to do. So that's why we talk about internal program transfer. For those of you who had an opportunity to visit our faculties in the galleries just before we began, I hope you grabbed one of our undergraduate guides. It looks like this. This document has everything you need to know about UNSW, including all of the information on campuses and also all of those degrees that we offer. At the very back of the document is a listing of every degree by faculty, and it shows you all the information that you would need to know about entry to that particular degree. I'll talk at the very end of the program about an option for you in terms of getting some more detailed information about individual degrees as well. So a couple of other things for you to keep in mind here at UNSW. O Week, and this is my public service announcement for wherever you may end up at university. I would hope it will be here at UNSW, but if that's not the case, absolutely make sure that you actively participate in O Week, or Orientation Week, the week before the term begins. So why do you do that? Why does it matter? It's really the way that it gets you set up for your first term and first year at university, and make sure that you know people, that you understand where the things that you need to know are around campus. It's also a great opportunity to meet people that you'll be studying with, also meet people that you won't be studying with, and join student clubs and societies, have a lot of fun. It is a hugely important activity here at UNSW. We like to say that we run the largest O Week in Australia, and it's quite true. The entire university mall will be filled with students all day long, every day of that week. But again, wherever you end up at university, do make sure that you actively participate in O Week. It will make a huge difference to your first term of study at university. The other thing there, a couple of other things there, UNSW Careers and Employment, we have a whole staff who are dedicated to helping you find a job once you get to university, whether that's while you're studying as an internship or a part-time job, or casual work opportunities, or again, once you've finished your degree and move on to a graduate role or a full-time role after university. There's a huge range of resources available from that team to help you with that process. Sport and recreation, we absolutely encourage people to participate in everything that is available to you here at UNSW, including sport and rec. Balancing your study with other things that are interesting is something that we really, really encourage, both while you're doing the HSC, through things like our adjustment factors and bonus points, and I'll talk about those in a moment, but also while you're here at university. It helps to make you a more well-rounded, interesting person, and there's a huge range of facilities and also opportunities available with Sport and Rec, including our participants in the Uni Games, which is the Olympics, for the equivalent of the Olympics for university students in Australia. Accommodation, we have 5,000 beds on campus, so if anybody's looking to live on campus, that is an option, and we can certainly talk to you more about that after the program. It's a totally wireless campus, so you can connect to Uniwide and be out on the lawns on a beautiful day, not like today, and checking your lecture notes or snapping something that's amazing and letting everyone know what's going on. And 300 student clubs and societies. And this is one of the things that I like to emphasize. UNSW has a great opportunity for you in terms of the academic offering that we have, but we also have a huge range of student clubs and societies. And ultimately, the university that you go to will matter, and the degree that you do will matter, but what will matter more is your ability to articulate yourself in an interview and talk about what you can offer to a potential employer in the future. And a lot of the way that you will do that is through the activities and experiences that you'll have through student clubs and societies. Both the fun ones, like Underwater Photography Society or the Muggle Quidditch team, those fun social ones, and then there's also the career-focused ones that are having you network with industry leaders and industry people who work in the industry that you're interested in working in the future, and or have more serious goals of helping people or changing communities really around the world or here even in Australia. So again, actively get involved in student clubs and societies as well. For those of you who are in year 12, your application deadline, the on-time application deadline to UAC, the University's Admission Center, is the 28th of September of this year. That means you need to have your application in, all your biographical details, and at least one university preference in by the 28th of September. You can then change your preferences a million times, all the way up until the closing date for that particular round. For those of you who are high school leavers, the vast majority of you will be eligible for your first round in December, round 2. And so you can change your preferences all the way up until the Sunday before that offer round is released. So keep in mind, you can change them as many times as you want between the 28th of September and that date in mid-December. If you are interested in any of our 300-ish degrees, that's all you have to do is list a preference on your UAC application, except in this situation with these degrees: aviation, law, medicine, music, the UNSW Canberra ADFA programs, and our co-op scholarships program. Co-op will go into more detail about what the specifics of that application process are, but with these other degrees, aviation, there's a flight medical exam and an application straight to the School of Aviation that you need to submit in addition to your UAC preference. For law, it's the LAT, the Law Admission Test, which you need to sit and complete. That test is in September. You can also sit it in year 11 if you happen to be a year 11 student, and the better of the two results will count. Medicine has the UMAT, the Undergraduate Medical and Health Sciences Admission Test, as well as an application directly to the Faculty of Medicine and an interview. Music has an audition and a theory test that you need to complete. And UNSW Canberra has the Defence Force recruiting process, which can take up to 10 or 11 months to complete. So we do recommend that you start that process toward the end of year 11. If you haven't started it yet, and you are definitely keen to attend UNSW Canberra next year as part of a Defence Force career and UNSW degree, make sure you contact Defence Force Recruiting tomorrow. Also, a couple of other things for you to keep in mind. Our flexible entry and options there for students who might just miss out on an offer based on the ATAR alone. So we have the Faculty of Engineering Admission Scheme, which is if you have an ATAR between 82 and 91.95, you can still potentially receive an offer if you apply via FIAS. And you have done well in particular subjects like mathematics and physics that are going to be relevant to that degree. So if you're interested in that, or if you find yourself in that situation, absolutely have a chat with us here at the university for more information. We also have the Bachelor of Information Systems Admission Scheme, or BISAS. This is the same thing again. If you have an ATAR that's within 10 points of the cutoff, you can still be made an offer if you apply via the BISAS scheme. So check those out if you think they might apply to you. Also, we have portfolio entry for our built environment degrees, most of our built environment degrees, and all of our degrees at UNSW Art and Design in Paddington. You'll submit a portfolio of your work, and they will then assess you, and if you are within 10 points of the ATAR cutoff for that particular degree, they may make you an offer as well. So keep those in mind if they apply to you. For those of you not familiar with TEXA, TEXA is the Tertiary Education Standards Quality Authority of Australia. They have recently mandated that universities change our language when it comes to the term bonus points. So we no longer refer to them as bonus points, we refer to them as adjustment factors. So we have a number of adjustment factors here at UNSW, and the first one is HSC+. These are points that are awarded to you based on your participation in HSC or IB subjects that are relevant to the degree that you want to do here at UNSW. And if you do well in those subjects, a band 4, 5, or 6, or an E3 or an E4 in extension subjects, you can get 1 to 2 points per subject, up to a maximum of 5. So if you have an ATAR of 90, and you're eligible for 5 HSC plus points, you become a 95 selection rank in the eyes of the university. And that is the same, treated the same as somebody who has an ATAR of 95, and your selection rank with 90 plus 5 points is a 95. They're the same thing. Those are automatically added to your ATAR, so you don't need to worry about it. They are unique by degree, and they apply for almost every degree here at UNSW, except for the ones you most want them to. So things like medicine and law do not participate in HSC+. You can visit the HSC+ website today and see all of the subjects that apply for every degree, along with the number of points that are awarded per band, and that won't change for your cohorts. Your year 11 and 12, the year 10s it might, but it probably won't. Elite athletes and performers and leaders. This is another points scheme that rewards you for participation in elite level sport, music, leadership, or academic pursuits in year 11 and year 12 only. So it includes things like Gold Duke of Ed, or being school captain in year 12, or an AMEB grade 8 or above, or state or higher performance in sport, competition in sport. There's a huge range of things that apply under EAPL. The difference between HSE Plus and Elite Athletes and Performers and Leaders is that you need to submit an application to the university to tell us how awesome and amazing you are so that we can give you those points. Applications open in August and they close on the 30th of November for those of you in year 12 at the moment. And it's a rolling application assessment process. So if you submit right away in August and you have all of your documentation that proves what you've done is amazing, we will get back to you potentially before you even sit your HSE exams, and you'll know how many points you have under EAPL. You can get up to 5 points here as well. You can combine those with HSE Plus for a maximum of 10 points here at UNSW. Pretty significant difference that will make to most ATARs. Again, this applies to almost every degree here at UNSW, again, except for the ones you most want it to. The Educational Access Scheme does apply for all of our degrees at UNSW, and this is for students who have suffered long-term socioeconomic or educational disadvantage. Long-term is more than 6 months, and you need to make sure that you're demonstrating that disadvantage with UAC, which is where you will submit that application, and you need to make sure that someone at your school is aware of the disadvantage that you're experiencing, because they will need to support your application as well. You can be eligible for up to 10 EAS, or Educational Access Scheme points. These can be combined with the 5 HSE Plus and 5 EAP, but remember, you can't get more than 10 points here at UNSW through any of these schemes combined. With that, I'm going to hand over to Michelle Morris, who is from the UNSW Co-op program, who's going to walk you through the application process for both our scholarship application and our co-op applications. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I am Michelle, I am from the Co-op program, and I'm the Scholar and Communications Manager there, which means I get to hang out with all of the cool students who do come into the Co-op program. But I'm going to cover everything across all of our scholarships this evening, so let's get started. UNSW places a really huge importance on scholarships. So we offer over $15 million worth of scholarship each year, okay? And that's for a whole range of reasons, and gives us an opportunity to reward achievement that you may have from high school, provide financial support to students who obviously need that to come to the university. Gives us an opportunity to promote diversity across the university as well, and then to make university accessible to students who might not otherwise have an opportunity to come. So there is a large range of equity and merit scholarships that are available, and the number of scholarships in those areas and the value of those scholarships is increasing each year. So this year, for 2018, we offered around 1,000 high school leaver scholarships, which basically means you really have to apply. They do exist. Most of those provide a stipend to help you with your living expenses while you're at university, and to help you pay for the cost of coming to university. Some of those, like the accommodation scholarships, are available to students who are looking to live on campus while they're studying here. The co-op program, which is quite a deep kind of program, I'll go into a lot more detail soon, but that one is a work integrated learning scholarship program, and that helps you to start your career while you're still here at university. Travel scholarships are exactly that. They help you open a door to the global opportunities that might be available to you as a student of UNSW. But equity scholarships are a real growing focus for us here at New South. These scholarships assist students with financial need coming into the university and or other disadvantages, and help them access tertiary education. So we do hope many of you, most of you, if not all of you, will apply for scholarships, and many of you will receive them. But just keep in mind, if you don't receive a high school leaver scholarship directly coming into UNSW, there's still a whole range of scholarships that you can be applying for once you are here as a student to help you access all of the different opportunities that Jonathan started speaking about just now. So you might want to undertake an honours thesis, or you might want to do a research project, or take one of those international exchange opportunities. So there are a whole range of scholarships that will be available to you once you're here as well. So there are three main ways that you might access a scholarship. One is through direct application, through the UNSW scholarships website, or through the co-op program website. The second way is via your UAC application. So equity scholarships you're going to be applying for via your UAC application. And the third one is automatic selection. So those ones you don't actually have to apply for. We either recognise where you're at and your eligibility for that scholarship via your UAC application information, or another example is our Scientia scholarship, which is available to students who hit the 99.9 ATAR and above. So we'll call you for that one. You don't even have to apply. You're welcome. So those different types of scholarships mean that we're looking for different types of students with different attributes across all of them. So for example, for the merit scholarships, generally speaking, we want to know who you are and what kind of contribution you're going to make to the UNSW community. Okay, so obviously everyone has their own interests and their own areas of excellence that you're bringing to the university. What we want to know is what you're going to do with that. Will you be a potential researcher or an entrepreneur? Will you bring us glory on the sports field? Are you going to volunteer locally or globally? What is it exactly that you want to do, and what can you bring to the UNSW community? We also want to know what programs you're interested in and why you're interested in those programs and why UNSW. So we want to hear from you, your experience and what you're going to bring. We want to know what leadership skills and potential that you might have, how you work as part of a team, how you've already demonstrated them and how you're looking to demonstrate them once you come here. We want to know what you've done at school, in your wider community, and also in your extracurricular activities. Okay, what is it that you are truly passionate about? So your application should reflect who you are, because it's who you are and those unique attributes that we're really looking for in all of our scholarship applications. So in terms of the merit-based scholarships, there's a variety of scholarships that are available, and some of those do look specifically at academic achievement. We might look solely at academic achievement, like the Scientia scholarship for some of them. For others, we recognise there's a lot more to you than the mark that you might get in a particular subject or an ATAR or an IB score. So some of those look, as I said, the qualities of leadership or community service, your extracurriculars or sporting achievements in conjunction with your academic achievement. So you might be combining your academic studies with your career as an elite athlete, for example. You might be playing for the Sydney Swans and coming here to UNSW. Fantastic. The Ben Lexon Scholarship exists, and that one is specifically to support students who are in elite athlete career. You might be interested in a particular field of study or a particular faculty, and you might be able to apply for scholarships that are specific to the program that you're applying for or the specific degree that you're applying for. If there aren't scholarships that are specific to the faculty or the degree that you're applying for, there will be other scholarships that you may be eligible for, and one of those in particular, the UNSW All-Rounder Scholarship, is one that we really encourage you to apply for, because from that application we can actually assess your potential for other scholarships, and so that one application could be leveraged across a number of different scholarships. So even if you apply for nothing else, you should be looking at that one. And the scholarships that we have and that are already on the website are continually being added to as we receive more funding or have funding approved all the way through. So you should continually be checking back on the website. Okay? So, a couple of those that we've already mentioned, the Ben Lexon Sports Scholarship and the Co-op Program Scholarship, which I will go into in a whole bunch of deeper information soon. You've got scholarships ranging in merit terms from $5,000 to $25,000 per annum. So different values, different aspects, different needs. Those merit-based scholarships are available for application via the scholarships website or via the Co-op Program website. In terms of equity scholarships, as part of our UNSW 2025 strategy, this is a really important goal for us to increase the equity and diversity of our student body. And scholarships is a really great way for us well, scholarships will play a really huge part in that. So we've a growing number of equity scholarships, and these are three of the main ones that are available. So that's UNSW Accommodation Scholarships, the UNSW Access Scholarship, and the President's and Vice Chancellor's Equity Scholarships. So these ones are available to high school leavers for a minimum duration of the degree that you're studying. And in 2018, so for this year, students commencing study this year, we offered 20 of the accommodation scholarships, 30 access scholarships, and 122 of the President's and Vice Chancellor's equity scholarships. And we're planning to offer a similar number next year. So if any of these circumstances that Jonathan already mentioned in terms of the EAS, Educational Access Scheme, if those circumstances that you can see up here do apply to you, you may be eligible for an equity scholarship. And those applications are via your UAC application. Along with the adjustment factors, you're going to be putting in your application via the UAC system there as well. All of the information relating to those scholarships you'll find on the UAC website. So when that opens for application to degrees, make sure you check that one out as well. And finally, some of our automatic selection scholarships that I mentioned before. These ones we're going to look at based on your results or your application for admission. So for example, the Indigenous admission schemes that might be available here at New South, we will look at that information to assess your eligibility for the Indigenous scholarships. So that means you don't have to submit an additional application if you've already submitted one of those applications. As I mentioned, the Scientia scholarship is 99.9 ATAR and above, and we will call you for that one. You're welcome again. The Alfred and Dorothy May Anderson scholarship supports students with the highest ATAR entering the Science and Education combined degree. And some Indigenous scholarships are based on your application from the Indigenous admissions scheme via Nuragili. And finally, that Academic Achievement Award, or the AAA scholarship, is $4,000 for 1 year, awarded to the highest ATAR achieving student at the school in New South Wales, or the ACT, who comes to UNSW. So they must be the highest academic achiever and come to UNSW to receive that one. And finally, UNSW is the partner institution for the Robertson Scholars Leadership Program, which is quite a mouthful. This scholarship allows an Australian student to study at Duke University or the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill in the United States. And the benefits include 8 semesters of full tuition, room and board, and mandatory fees for scholars at Duke and UNC. So the Australian selections are organised by the UNSW Scholarships team, and those applications are via the UNSW Scholarships webpage, and they will close on the 1st of December. Okay. So, as I highlighted, the Co-op Program Scholarship is a little bit unique. If you've never heard of it before, I am so glad you're here. It has evolved because major companies want students who not only have the academic and theoretical knowledge that you're going to get from your university degrees, but have the soft skills and the management capabilities so that once they're going into the workplace, they can really hit the ground running when they are working efficiently from day one. So, of course, that academic knowledge, the theoretical knowledge is critical. It's really important, and we really hope that you will think about and consider UNSW when you are selecting your university. But it is very different from the real world. So, as a co-op scholar, they are going to leave the university with a great resume, with lots of experience, and that will set them apart from other graduates. It also gives leading companies in Australia and sometimes world leaders in industry a chance to work with the best and brightest students that UNSW has to offer. So there are My clicky thing is very exciting. There are a total of around 80 scholarships that we offer each year across all of the programs, the 22 different programs in the co-op program, which are in these faculties. So in the business faculty, we have accounting and business management, actuarial studies, business information systems, commerce information systems, finance and banking and marketing. Whew, I remember them all. I should have written that down. In the engineering faculty, we have everything from your more traditional civil and mining and mechanical engineering to the more future-related or future-focused renewables or photovoltaic engineering. Chemical engineering and tech engineering areas like computer science or software engineering and those sorts of things. And of course everything in between, because we have to bring it up to 22. And for those who can't get enough of maths, I know there's a lot of you out there, I'm so glad to see you. The huge area of data science is exploding all over the world. We have a data science and decisions degree here at UNSW that goes across the 3 faculties of business, engineering and science. Super exciting. We also have a co-op program in it. So if you love maths, you should absolutely check that one out as well. I know there's a lot of people who are just writing that down. It's good. Okay, so why should you be applying for co-op? This is an industry-linked career development scholarship program. We are developing and helping students to develop their careers from high school. These are high-achieving students who want to leave the university with more than just their academic qualifications. We have industry partners. We have over 150 industry partners who are Australia's leading companies in the industries that we're working with. We have a network of around 3,000 alumni in and around Australia, but also overseas. So the network that our students are beginning to create as their very first year here is really exciting. And this is a snapshot of just some of our sponsors. Obviously, I can't fit them all onto one slide, but as you can see, there are some big names and big players in industry. So whether it's working with Coca-Cola Amatil or American Express in marketing, for example, working with the Sydney Waters for civil engineering or chemical engineering students, working at McDonald's on some of the most exciting advertising and marketing campaigns that could exist, or Atlassian, which was founded by one of our alumni and is Australia's leading tech giant, if you're interested in computer science or software engineering. These are some of the companies that you could get to work with if you come as a UNSW co-op program scholar. We are definitely looking for more than just academic ability. If you are thinking about applying for the co-op program, you need to keep in mind we're looking for students who have motivation, leadership skills, who have ambition and are great team players, who are interested in actually having that balance in their life, the academic and the workplace balance. It is for high-achieving students. Our minimum ATAR is a 96, but we recommend anyone who is considering or hoping or thinking that they might get an ATAR anywhere in the 90s does apply for the program because you never know what happens on the day. And we are certainly looking for the motivation and the ambition that you will demonstrate to us in your application. If the entry to your degree is higher than the 96 ATAR, you do still need to gain entrance to the degree. So, for example, the Bachelor of Commerce here at UNSW was higher than a 96 ATAR a number of years, 96.5, I believe, this year. Keeping those numbers in my head. So you do need to hit the entrance point for your particular degree. We are looking for you in your application to demonstrate some social responsibility, some resilience, why it is that you're interested in your particular area of study and your chosen career. Because you are going to be challenged. You are going to be given opportunities to show exactly how and why you want to work in that particular industry. And given the opportunity to start looking for your particular niche in an industry. So It doesn't matter what it might be that you have done. There are a whole bunch of ways that you can demonstrate the sort of characteristics that we are looking for in our co-op scholars. But we want to know that you have the ability to balance life inside and outside the classroom, whether it be through extracurricular or social pursuits, through volunteering, leadership activities at the school, whatever it is that makes you you, we want to see that in your application. Not just the number. So you need to demonstrate to us exactly what it is you've learned and taken away from the activities you've been involved in. So this just gives you an idea of what we're looking at for the next couple of months. If you're in Year 12, the co-op program applications opened on the 1st of May, and the general scholarship applications, the majority of other high school leaver scholarship applications, will open on the 1st of July. Interestingly, this year, we have tried to confuse you just a little bit. Co-op program applications will close on the 28th of September, which is the same day as the UAC applications will close, and high school leaver applications for other scholarships will close on the 30th of September. From a co-op program perspective, there is an interview process as well. So we'll notify you on the 9th of November if you're invited to interview, and you will need to attend that in person here at UNSW on the 9th of November. Sorry, not on the 9th of November, on the 22nd and the 23rd. The 22nd is our interview briefing day, and the 23rd is our interviews day. If you are planning to go to schoolies or to go overseas on a hooray, I just graduated trip, I would strongly suggest that you make that after the 23rd of November if you are interested in a co-op program scholarship. We will make conditional offers based on your application and your interview on the 6th of December. So we give you just over a week to think about things before you receive your ATAR. If you're receiving an ATAR, if you're receiving an IB, it might be slightly later than that, but we'll make your conditional offer, give you some time to think about it, and then you will contact us when you receive your ATARs or your high school results to accept or decline your conditional offer. If you are studying the IB and your results are released later than that, don't worry, we won't give away your scholarship. We'll hold on to it until we've got your results and your decision on that. In terms of all other scholarship offers, they'll start being made, those conditional offers will start being made from the time you receive your high school results. So if it is an ATAR, from that point on, there'll be rolling offers of scholarship all the way through. And they could go as far as into the beginning of your first term here at UNSW as well. We will, as Jonathan mentioned, participate in UAC rounds from December. So you could receive your co-op conditional offer, accept your co-op conditional offer, and have your university offer all in hand by the time you go somewhere wonderful for Christmas and have a super huge celebration. So all of this information is available on the website, and we'll make sure that you've got access to that from tonight as well. Keeping in mind that at any point, your scholarship, your co-op program scholarship or your scholarship offer is conditional until such time as you've been made an offer of entry to the university. So you do need to come here for us to actually give you the scholarship. Should be okay. Okay. So just a couple of hints and tips for online applications. We really strongly suggest you start early. Give yourself as much time as you can to think about the sorts of responses that we're looking for. Give some full and comprehensive answers. Again, one-sentence answers will not make you stand out from the crowd. You really need to think about what makes you unique, what you're bringing to UNSW, and what your contribution might be. This is your opportunity to really highlight what you have done. If you don't tell us how fantastic you are, we will never know. Okay, so you need to, please, think about what you've done and why it is so fantastic that you've done that whilst doing your HSC and getting the marks to get you into UNSW as well. We really strongly suggest that you type your responses into a Word document, because if you have an internet connection that is 100% wonderful all of the time, please tell me your provider. You do not want to lose all of the work that you've done. So save it into a Word document onto your laptop, desktop, whatever it is that you're working on. Save it regularly. You don't want it to time out while you're working. Review your answers, proof your draft. Get someone else to read it or read it out aloud. Sometimes when you read things out aloud, you hear some things that shouldn't be where they are. Specifically for co-op, check the Future Students pages of our website and the frequently asked questions, because you'll probably find a lot of information there that will be really helpful to you, and our quick guide to get extra tips. Check out the UAC codes that are required, and for the co-op program specifically, there is a schools assessment that your careers advisor or year level coordinator needs to complete. So you want your coordinator to complete that one for you. Give them plenty of time to do that, and don't tell them on the 27th of September that you'd like them to do that, because that could be really difficult. Okay, for all of you attending tonight as well, you will, as well as all of the slides that we're going to be sending out, you'll receive some instructional videos, some little instructional tutorials on the registration and application process for both co-op and the scholarships program. Sometimes it's just easier seeing how it's done rather than having somebody tell you in a room like this. Those are the key dates. Don't forget 28th for co-op, 30th for scholarships. If you have questions, please put them into Slido. We are absolutely interested in answering as many questions as we possibly can. And I'm going to hand over, I think, to Erin. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Erin, that girl up there, and I'm in my 4th year of an arts and science degree at UNSW. I actually moved to UNSW from Canberra after taking a gap year, but I'll come back to how that all came around in a second. To catch you up on my life so far for the past 3.5 years at UNSW, it's involved everything from moving to Sydney to studying biochemistry, math, statistics, the history of Thailand's monarchy, Japanese, the historical and social significance of Bollywood film, and what the next big drugs to hit the market are. I've been able to be madly involved in sport, be it through college sport, the UNSW touch football, athletics, and AFL clubs. I've got to go to uni games, I've got to travel overseas, do domestic and overseas volunteer programs, work for the National Breast Cancer Foundation, run Asian Relations and Athletics Club societies, go to campus, go to conferences, live on campus, and enjoy doing all of that while hopping down to Coogee Beach. So I believe that all of this is possible due to how the university is set up, their encouragement for all students to pursue what they're interested in, no matter what that is. And of course, due to the assistance of our scholarships and scholarships programs. In terms of receiving scholarships, I'm the story of put in an application even if you don't tick all the boxes. I came into the university on the Mitsui Matsushima Australian Japanese Studies Award. I wasn't the typical candidate for this scholarship. Normally this is given to someone who's 100% sure they're going to pursue a Japanese major at the university. I wasn't 100% sure on that. When I came into the university, I was studying a science degree. But this scholarship opened up so many doors to me. Sitting in my Japanese lectures that I was doing as electives in that science degree in my first year, on this scholarship, I got to build relationships with the lecturers and received encouragement for them to do extra things that I wouldn't have done otherwise. They got me set up and ready to participate in the New South Wales Japanese speaking contest, what we're doing up there. And through their extra guidance, I felt like I was being encouraged and supported to pursue Japanese at this university. So if you ask me how that then affected things, well, it changed the course of my degree. Super stoked that the university was going to support and encourage my endeavours in this area, I took up a whole extra degree in order to be able to do that. So now I study a science and arts degree. Along with being on this scholarship, throughout my years at university, I have been part of the elite athlete program. This has involved getting a few different scholarships along the way and being supported through the university in my sporting endeavours. The lady at the helm of this program is an incredible person who backs and encourages every single sporting scholar that comes into the university. In terms of the financial assistance that this scholarship gives us, it's the ability to travel, to train, to pay for your physio costs while you're still studying full-time. We also get financial assistance to travel up to the Australian Unisport Nationals, the Uni Games, where we get to compete as a team as part of the most strongest universities at those championships. It also means that you get access to the gym, so you're able to hop into the gym between your classes and get that session done that you wouldn't be able to fit into your day otherwise. I originally chose to come to UNSW because I felt like they encouraged all students to pursue whatever they were interested in. When I came to nights like this, I felt like they were super interested in you if you were the smartest kid in the room, but more importantly, they wanted to work out what you were interested in, how you wanted to be part of the UNSW community, and what you wanted to contribute to this community. And they wanted to work out what they could do to help you do that. I've certainly been lucky throughout my degree to have a lot of people stop and take an interest in what I was doing and see what they could do to get me to the next stage. So I hope that you do get a feel from nights like this that you could be, if you come into UNSW on a scholarship or not, entering into a community who is lobbying for you to succeed in whatever you see success to be. In terms of how we get to the end point and how we got there, I'm going to share with you my application journey. So I did take a gap year after finishing high school. I worked part-time jobs for 6 months, and then I hopped over to Japan, the land of the rising sun, to study, travel, and live with my godmother. I found the end of year 12 all really, really hectic, and so I didn't find time to sit down and get the scholarship applications done because I also had university applications in at universities all around Australia. So I waited until my gap year. When it got to my gap year, I hopped onto the UNSW website, put in my details that I was a high school leaver, a female, interested in sports scholarships, and at that point interested in pursuing a Bachelor of Science International degree, and a whole heap of scholarships that I was eligible to apply for came up. You fill out your generic questions and some specific ones per the degree, you get your supporting documents together, and your application's ready to go. That sounds pretty easy, but man, it is hard. It's hard to do an application because it's hard to sound genuine. It's hard to summarize yourself in a short amount of words. It's hard to showcase your skills, but then not read your application back and cringe at what you've written. So I do have some handy tips for you in overcoming that and getting your application in. First, sit and think for a little bit about their questions that they're asking you in these applications. Think about what your answer to the question is, not the answer that they want to hear. Second, people write and talk about you much better than you know yourself. So go to your coaches, your teachers, your community members, and explain to them the significance of the scholarships you're applying for, and get them to write up a supporting document because they'll be able to make you sound much more impressive. Third, use your family, friends, people in your community who can help you to check your answers on and give your answers a bit of a proofread. I was doing my applications while I was living with my godmother, and while she loves me, she's not quite as protective of me as my mum. So her feedback was quite brutal and forthcoming. But I did find this really, really, really helpful. She told me what sounded cliche, she told me what sounded sloppy, and she told me the things about myself that I needed to play up in order to stand out. So it's people like that who can give you genuine, useful feedback that you should work with in order to put that application together to submit to the university. I see scholarships as your gateway of being able to say yes to more things when you hop onto the university campus. They take off that extra stress of having to work and arrange other things around your university, and they mean you can take most of the opportunities to go overseas, do sport, do other things that you want to be involved in on campus. Through the support of both my family and the university, I have been able to be thoroughly involved in the university community, and I've found this incredibly fulfilling. So I hope that all of you do get the same opportunity and you do put in an application, because you never know how far it'll get you. Thank you, and now we'll head on to Victor.
Thanks for that, Erin. My name's Victor, and I'm a fourth and final year finance co-op scholar, the one Michelle was talking about. So, just a little bit about my experience as a co-op scholar. Let me first cap it off with some of the things which I think are great about the co-op scholarship program. So I think that's two main things that the co-op program has provided me. Firstly and foremost, that's an engaging group of friends. Others who may call it a network. But these people that you enter the co-op program with, they really share many characteristics with you. They're similar but different, and that's what really helps you work together and build each other up. Secondly, I think the co-op program, in addition to everything else that it provides, it really gives you the support to leap out of your comfort zone, and whether that's entering the workforce in your first year of university or challenging yourself outside of work with the additional things you can do with the co-op scholarship, or even financial support to take up your personal goals, like living away from home or travelling. So to give you a brief summary of my experience, my 4 years of being a co-op scholar, I started living on campus full-time in my first year. That was just largely in part to the financial support from the co-op scholarship, and what that helped me do is it helped me focus on the full university experience, joining many societies, doing a lot of the study that was required to get to the academic requirements, and basically taking advantage of everything that I could without having to take up part-time work or something like that. At the end of the first year, I started work at Rothschild, which is they're an independent financial advisor, and that was really my first foray into the world of advisory. It was a really interesting time back then. I was working in the natural resources sector, and essentially it was a chance for me to see how the world of finance and banking worked, and to really learn the ropes of what a career in the industry would be like. After that, I went back to being a full-time student at UNSW, back on campus, having a great time. And then in the second half of my second year in 2016, I had the chance to go to Texas and study at the University of Texas at Austin on an exchange program. That was really different, it was really exciting, and honestly, it was some of the best times that I've had so far. To give you an idea of how interesting it was, this was at the tail end of 2016, at the same time as the American presidential elections, so there was a lot of change that was going on in the world, and I was there to witness it. Finishing off that 6-month experience in Texas, I had the chance to come back and start full-time work, this time at UBS. Now, in UBS, I was working in a different industry. I was working in general industrials, and essentially it was the chance to see what a different company in the sector would do. So similar type of work, different industry, longer amount of time, and so that really helped me build my perspective in terms of understanding what the industry was like, understanding the types of jobs in the industry, the roles, the responsibilities, and yeah, that's right. After that, I moved on to Credit Suisse in a completely different part of the financial services industry, and this was equity research. And that was a chance for me to see a different product offered by the companies in finance in Sydney. After finishing that, that's taken me to my first semester here, where I've had the chance to just work full-time, study full-time, work part-time in a graduate role that I've taken up, and prepare for my exchange, which I'm going on to in the coming semester, and that will be to Colombia at the University of the Andes. Now, a lot of people have talked about the opportunities available at UNSW, and one of the things I'd like to highlight is really the global opportunities that are available, both with the university and also with the support that they provide. So if you look at the dotted lines, those are some of the routes that I've been able to take through the world on my 3.5 years at university. And this is largely thanks to the opportunities provided by UNSW and the opportunities provided by the co-op program. That orange line is my flight to Colombia, which I'll be taking in about 3 weeks' time. So when you guys make your decisions, I hope you guys also think about the chance of going overseas and spending some time abroad, because I think that's honestly a very great and challenging opportunity. In terms of the tips that I have for your applications, I've got 3 main ones. Know what you want and why. So that's basically knowing what sets you apart, knowing what sets you apart, knowing what you need to demonstrate. Secondly is staying organised. I know Year 12 and the HSC or IB can get very busy, but I think there's almost 3 months between now and when the applications are closing, so you should get started as soon as you can. And then also to apply, because it doesn't really cost you a lot to send in an application, but applying could change the path of your career and also your life. And then thirdly, knowing what makes you different. So everyone's unique, but a lot of people also apply for these opportunities. And I think what you should think about is how you can show how you are different and highlight to the people that are assessing your scholarship applications, help them make that decision. Thank you for having me. I'll pass it on to Jonathan.
So I'm going to welcome back up to, whoa, maybe I'm not. Back to Slido, yes, absolutely. So those of you who haven't asked any questions via Slido, you can absolutely submit them still. We're now going to welcome back up our people who have been speakers this evening, Michelle Morris from the co-op program, Aaron, and also Liz Block from our scholarships program as well, joining on the stage for an opportunity to ask any of those questions that you have via Slido. So go ahead, again, vote up your questions that you like and that you really want to see an answer to, because we won't have an opportunity to get through all of these this evening. But we'll start with the very first question, which will be on the next. You will see this slide very shortly, I believe, and you will be able to see what these questions are. But the first question is, can we sign up for a co-op scholarship if we plan to do a double degree, e.g. commerce and computer science? Ms. Morris.
I think I'm on. So initially, no. For the co-op program, you're going to come in on a single degree, and that is for a few different reasons. You're being sponsored in a particular industry, and we want to see how you study in that particular area of study in your first year and how you perform on your industry placement. So depending on the combination, we may be able to discuss with you the opportunity after seeing how you've studied in your first year and your first industry placement. But initially, you must come in on a single degree.
Excellent. Thank you, Michelle. And thank you for Anonymous for that question. Our next question, again, I'm going through these questions based on which ones have the most number of likes next to them. So the next question is, what factors are most important for an applicant to demonstrate in their application, e.g. Duke of Ed, community service, first in their course, etc.? I'm going to point that question first to Feliz, and then potentially from co-op's perspective as well. So Feliz, for a scholarship application other than co-op, what's most important?
I think it's hard to say what's most important because that depends on who you are. So if you've achieved academically, you might want to emphasise that. excuse me, we're all losing our voice in our office this week. If you're an elite athlete, you might want to highlight those. The answer is answer every question. So you have achieved in all of those areas. If you have achievements in all of those areas that we ask you about, make sure you highlight those. There isn't one thing that's more important than another. It's about what sets you apart, though, from somebody else. So your experience is unique. Your achievements are unique to you. What you want to study, and more importantly, why you want to study that degree, is unique to you. So that's what you need to highlight.
Excellent, thank you.
Just
And
to
from
add to
co-op?
that, from a co-op perspective, again, exactly as Feliz says, there is no one activity that is more important or more valuable than another, but what have you learnt from those activities? For your co-op program application, we're going to ask you specifically, how have you demonstrated leadership capabilities? How have you demonstrated teamwork capabilities? Think about the activities that you've done and what you've learnt from those activities, and then is that activity the most important or the most efficient way to get that message across?
Excellent, thank you both. And I'm not texting, I am actually reading the questions that you're putting through. So the next question that is up in terms of votes, 22 of you would like to know, will I be disadvantaged if I don't perform or compete in activities and I am not in a school captaincy position? Ms. Block.
Not necessarily disadvantaged. It just means, again, your application will be different to somebody else's. This is where you should really look at the eligibility and the selection criteria for every scholarship. Besides the co-op program, we probably have up to 100 different scholarship programs that are looking for different things in students. So read what you need to do to be eligible and read what the selection criteria are, and then that will give you a guide as to what we're looking for that particular program.
Great, thank you.
Sorry, can I just
Yes,
add to that
Michelle.
as well? I just need to add. Have you had a part-time job? You might not think that that sounds like a super achievement, but if you've had a part-time job, you have demonstrated time management. You have demonstrated some determination, getting out of bed and going to that job on the weekend, probably not the easiest thing to do. You've demonstrated that you've been able to maintain your academic studies as well as keeping on top of that part-time job, or they probably wouldn't have paid you. Okay? You might be taking part in church volunteering or something like that. Don't try and qualify exactly what it is that you've done as being good or bad in terms of experience. We want to know what you've done, why you've done it, and what you've learnt from it.
Absolutely, I think that's the best advice in terms of telling us what you've done, no matter what that is. Don't make a judgment, let us judge that in terms of your application. The next question is, can you hold more than one scholarship at the same time? Now, Ms. Block, I'll look to you, and I also look at Erin at the same time and go, maybe? But Feliz, can you answer that question for us?
Yeah, the short answer is yes. We do have people on multiple scholarships, because it depends on what the scholarship is being awarded for. So in theory, you could hold a merit scholarship based on your academic achievements in conjunction with an equity scholarship because of your background, for example. There are certain rules about which scholarships can't be held in conjunction, and we'll try and list that on the website under the listing for each scholarship program. But generally, yes, you can hold multiple scholarships, which is why we encourage you to apply for multiple scholarships. You may get multiple offers, and then we can determine, based on your case and your scholarships, which ones you can hold in conjunction.
Excellent, thank you. Next question, and Erin is a great example of a multiple scholarship holder, I think.
Yes.
Next question is, which overseas universities are linked as part of the co-op program? So obviously you saw Victor has gone on exchange a number of times, but Michelle, do you want to talk quickly about official links, or is it just simply because there are so many great exchange opportunities here at UNSW, 250 plus universities?
So that one, as well as the fact that for co-op program scholars, we are building in a lot into your time here at New South. So you're going to be doing your industry placements, you're going to have leadership and professional development, and there will be windows of opportunity that you can go on exchange. For whatever degree it is that you're studying, it might mean that if you are like Victor and the finance co-op scholars, that you choose to take some of your finance subjects overseas, and there might be specific universities that offer a different insight into finance and banking that you might not get at an Australian university, and that might be how you're going to make your decision on where you want to go. It could purely be that you put all of your general education subjects into that 6 months, into that semester or term, and you just go over and have a great time. That's fine as well. There aren't specific universities that we as co-op are going to dictate that you can go to. It just depends what stage of your degree you're at and how you you have planned in advance your degree.
So Feliz, do you want to just add in there in terms of exchange scholarships and opportunities that exist for once you do arrive at university and if you decide to go on exchange later, is there support available for that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a whole range of scholarships to go on a formal exchange program. So if you're getting units of credit for your degree and going on a formal program, you can apply for exchange scholarships. And we also have a whole range of short-term mobility grants. So if you're going to Indonesia on a short-term project that the university has funding for, you can also get financial assistance to do that. We literally have hundreds of students at any one time on an exchange or mobility grant scholarship. So those are the scholarships you can hold in conjunction with any other scholarship, incidentally, as well. And we actively encourage students to do that. Think about a global program, whether that be exchange or short-term mobility, and please apply for a scholarship to help you do so.
Excellent, thank you both. Our next question is about how many co-op scholarships. I'll broaden that to be how many co-op scholarships and how many other scholarships would UNSW offer for the question is actually about how many co-op scholarships will be offered for each of the degrees this year?
As many sponsors as we can get. That is legitimately how we determine the numbers. We go out into industry each year and ask them about sponsoring and supporting a cohort of students for 4 or 5 years through their degree. Okay, so we can't give you an exact number. Across all of our programs, this year we have 75. We have between 70 and 80 each year. If before the GFC, after the GFC, you know, there are different parts of industry that are going to work in different ways, and we will go out to our sponsors and find new sponsors and bring in as many scholarships as we can. We will give you the numbers of scholarships in each stream at the interview briefing day. We'll tell you exactly how many have signed on the dotted line for the coming year.
Excellent. Thank you. And generally, how many scholarships would be awarded every year?
Again, that's a
Rough
bit of
number.
that depends on the funding that comes in. This year, at least 1,000 commencing students received a scholarship. So, and roughly that's how many will get one at least next year as well. So that's sort of at least double what's in this auditorium at the moment, if that gives you a rough idea. There are plenty of opportunities and increasing all the time, and in particular, the scholarship pool for equity scholarships has increased about 4 times what it was a year ago. So
Excellent.
Please look out for those opportunities.
Thank you for that. Our next question, what does the interview briefing day for the co-op scholarship entail? And I'll broaden that as well to then there's another question in there that asks, does every scholarship require an interview? So first, what does the co-op interview briefing day look like? What is it? What do you cover?
Yep, the interview briefing day is exactly what it sounds like. We give you some ideas about what to expect at interview. We'll tell you which of our sponsors or new sponsors have signed on into the specific streams that you're looking to interview for. The following day, we'll tell you who they are. We'll give you the next steps from there. Once you've interviewed, what you need to do to accept the scholarship and times and dates and all of that sort of thing. But the really exciting part is you get to meet students who were in your shoes the year before. So our first year students, our first year scholars who are just finishing their first year at UNSW will be there to kind of give you an idea of what you can expect and how you can relax, and really encourage you to talk from the heart about who you are, because you've already reached that point. They've already assessed your application. They want to have a chat with you. And we're just trying to give you as much information as we can at that point so that you will come in and have a chat and actually enjoy the experience of it.
Excellent. And Feliz, do all scholarships require an interview?
Fortunately, no. Most general scholarship programs don't require an interview. There are some exceptions. So, for example, the Women in Engineering program, the Rural Engineering program, and a few in business do require an interview, and mostly because they're also assessing something other than academic achievement or your personal circumstances. So they might be looking at leadership or your potential contribution to the community. So we do have some interviews, and we're attempting to hold them all on the same day as the co-op interviews as well. So if you decide you want to leave the country, again, maybe stay in Australia until the 23rd of November, because that's
until the 24th actually.
24th, sorry, because that's when most interviews will be held. So we're trying to coordinate that all on the same day.
Excellent, thank you. Our next question is one that I am confident that Michelle can answer, but I'm actually going to look at Victor and Aaron and say, if you think back to your individual applications, what kind of supporting documents did we ask you to submit? What were the things that you had to do as part of that? Who wants to go first? Aaron? Victor? Aaron? Victor? Victor. Okay.
I don't mind going first. So I remember having my school reports, letters of recommendation from the charity that I was volunteering at, and various other things just to support what I'd been talking about in my application.
And Aaron?
Yeah, so I would have had letters from coaches and printing off the athletics ranking list with my name highlighted to be like, I'm there, that sort of stuff. And then, yeah, something from the school principal and from my boss at my part-time job from my high school to say I did turn up and did do what I claimed I did.
Excellent. And for
I'm
Liz
just
and
going to
Michelle?
say, in terms of what is needed for a co-op program application, is the school's assessment page. You will nominate the careers advisor or your year level coordinator. We do look for that. Effectively, that is them saying, yes, this student is from our school. Yes, this student is the basketball captain or whatever it is that you've put into your application. We do not base your application on their assessment of you. We will assess your application. So don't freak out if they're not like your favorite teacher and you don't have like the tightest relationship with them. That is completely okay. It's to support your application.
The other question that comes as part of this question is, for the keen being year 11 students and year 10 students out there, can they see what the application looks like now so that they can start preparing their application in their heads now?
For co-op?
For co-op and for scholarships generally?
From the co-op perspective, we're not trying to confuse you, bamboozle you at all. It's all in the co-op brochure that you'll find outside. All of our application questions are there. If you want to have a look at what it looks like online, on the actual online portal, if you click on the links that we send you for the registration and the application tutorials, you'll see exactly what it looks like currently online. If you're in year 10, I can't promise you, because I certainly hope that we will have made some improvements by the time you come along. But at this stage, you can see exactly what that looks like.
Excellent.
The same for general scholarships as well. We have 4 general questions that we ask every student who's applying for the direct merit applications online. They're not a mystery, they're not a secret. We ask you about your academic achievements, your extracurricular activities, your leadership, and what you want to study and why. So you can, if you want, go online and go through the registration process to see those questions. The questions aren't a mystery, it's the answer that's important to those questions.
Victor, the next question to Victor
Right.
is, how did you specifically differentiate yourself from other co-op candidates? What made you get a scholarship?
I think, well, that's a tough question.
Tough question for Victor to answer, but
I think that's
what
something-
did you, in your application, what do you think that you thought about that made you different and interesting and someone worthy of a scholarship?
So I don't think it was something particular that I did or something like that. I wasn't the school captain, I wasn't a prefect, I didn't get the best marks. I got good enough marks to get in. What I think was different was the way I approached the things that I talked about. I remember talking about things which weren't necessarily a formal program, just something which I'd done that I'd contributed to. And I talked about how I learned from those experiences. So I think it was the communication of that kind of caught the eye of whoever was reading the application and led me to where I am today.
Excellent. Thank you, Victor. So there are heaps and heaps of other questions, but I'm going to pause on that moment. If your question did not get answered, they're going to flip over to the presentation deck again, just so that I can show you a couple of last-minute slides. If you didn't get your question answered, absolutely come and chat with us afterward. We're happy to answer those other questions. I saw the person who had the 104.95 ATAR. No, you can't get a 104.95 selection rank. 99.95 is as good as it gets. But we're happy to answer any of those other questions as well. With that in mind, just a quick reminder, there are a huge number of events on all throughout the year that you can come to the university and try things out in a particular area of study or get more information. The one that I would draw your attention to most is Open Day, which is Saturday the 1st of September. It is a huge day. 38,000 people attended last year. This whole building becomes an advisory center, and the mall, again, is packed with people. Lots of lectures, lots of activities. A great opportunity to come back to campus on a day when it's hopefully not raining, and get a feel for, does this place feel like the right place for me for the next 3, 4, 7, 9 years of your life, depending on how long you decide to study. So Open Day is a great option, and make sure that you do attend Open Day. Finally, we want you to come to UNSW if it's the right place for you. I think Aaron and Victor both made that decision for themselves after visiting the campus and applying for the scholarships and talking to staff at the university. And UNSW is a great institution. I am an alum of this university. I'm also paid to tell you how amazing it is as well. But it's really, really important for us that you come to UNSW because it's the right place for you. If it's not the right place, that's okay. I won't hate you forever. It's about making sure that you feel comfortable here and that this is the right place for you. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, but make the right decision, again, just for you, not for anyone else. Finally, you hopefully picked up this document. I talked to it earlier, the undergraduate guide. If you haven't, there will be copies available after the program, but you can also download a personalized version that will be produced just for your particular interests, whether that's the Elite Athletes and Performers and Leaders program or sport or specific degrees that you want more information on. Do visit that URL. Yes, it is a URL, unsw.guide, and you can create that personalized document for you that will evolve with you over time. And finally, if you ever have any questions about anything to do with UNSW, including scholarships or co-op, you are always more than welcome to contact us in the Future Students Office. We are here to help at any point in time. Thank you again for coming this evening. Join us for some additional food outside and ask any of those additional questions that you have. And I hope you all have a lovely evening and see you at Open Day. Bye-bye.